going to go ahead and get started now that we got the logistics worked out. And I'll tell you this, my officers over here would rather face a loaded gun than be here today. It's great. The guys and gals that come to law enforcement do so to be of service. And it's not often enough that we come together to recognize the good work being done by the officers, especially those here in the Pasadena Police Department. I want to thank all of you for coming today. I mean, this is a great turnout. It's good to see. And we've got 3 council members here as well. I see Councilmember Van Hout, Councilmember Bruce Lehman, there you are right here, and Councilmember Wagner. Thank you so much for coming here to help commemorate this event. And for the family members here, you should be very proud. I was just telling all the officers here that I know they do good deeds day in and day out. And it's not, they're not always recognized for those good deeds. But these are things that came to our attention, and we're going to really try to do our best to honor them for the good service they did today. Truth be told, they shunned this type of attention. If you ask them, they said they're just doing what they were hired to do, and they just were doing their job. But clearly, when you hear the narratives, you're going to see that they went above and beyond, and they represented the Pasadena Police Department very well and are serving the citizens of our city very, very well as a result. And that's what sets them apart from most people and from other agencies here. They're here because they want to make a difference, and that's what it means to be an officer here in the Pasadena Police Department. And I'll say this, they're not discouraged or dissuaded from their efforts to make that difference by naysayers or those who are quick to criticize. And I've got a quote in my office. I don't know if the officers have noticed when you come in there. It was given to me many years ago, probably back in 1992. But I've still got it on my wall, and I'm going to wax philosophical just for a moment. But I know you're probably familiar with Theodore Roosevelt. It's either known as the daring greatly quote or the man in the arena quote. But it goes like this: it's not the critic who counts, nor the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, and so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. And again, that was by Theodore Roosevelt. But I think that captures what it is to be a cop and what these officers represent today, and their actions again represent that. And I just got back from Chiefs training, and there's a book that I've just ordered, talks about the nobility of policing. And in one of the chapters, it has a small quote that says, it's true that many good deeds go unnoticed, unrewarded, and even challenged by the people who we're serving. But these failures are not failures or a sign the cause is lost. Every just and noble act is an opportunity to make a difference. Every one of those moments matters in the service of a greater good. And that's, again, from Nobility of Policing by Michael Nyla. And, in this training that I went to is with major city chiefs from around Texas. And we all face the same issues. Policing is the same across America. We're all facing the same challenges. But what is the same is the dedication of the men and women who do this job. They come here because it's a calling, and I'm telling you that we're fortunate to serve a community like Pasadena, where we have the support of a community who understands how difficult our job is, how difficult the role is, and how much they support us in that effort to provide those services. And they support our officers. And these men and women who wear the Pasadena Police Department uniform, and all of my men and women who wear the uniform, they epitomize what it means to protect and serve. And I am thankful and honored to be fortunate enough to be their chief. I thank Mayor Isabel for giving me that opportunity. But the men and women who work here, I will tell you, you all have a right to be very proud, and I'm proud of them. And thank you, gentlemen, for what you've done and what you continue to do. So with those few comments, we're going to get on with the ceremony. You don't want to hear me pontificate up here. So I'm going to call up here, I'm going to read a short bio of each of the officers that are being honored today. We've got 3 different awards that we're going to be delivering, I should say. And so I'm going to call the officers up, and I'm going to read their bio, and then Assistant Chief Josh Brugger is going to read the narrative, and then we're going to provide them with the ribbons and plaques as is appropriate. So, Officers David Garza, Marty Hoffman, and Joshua Green, would you please join me? Okay, I'll start with David Garza. His bio reads, Officer David Garza has been a police officer for 28 years, and 20 of those years has been with the Pasadena Police Department. David's worked all 3 shifts, as well as being on the gang force and street crimes units. He's currently assigned to the Day Shift Patrol Division and is fortunate enough to work with an excellent group of police officers. He has also been fortunate to be a member of the Latino Peace Officers Association for 18 years, and he's held several positions on the board, including the position of president. With his organization, he's helped provide scholarships for our youth, delivered holiday meals during Thanksgiving, and has had participated in numerous toy drives during Christmas. Officer Garza has the support from our department in reaching out to our English and Spanish-speaking communities at churches and apartment clubhouses by providing information to our citizens on how they could assist in our efforts to fight crime in their neighborhoods. Officer Garza will also like to give special thanks to Chief Thaler and Assistant Chief Brugger for providing him with the resources and for supporting him through this effort. I'll pay you afterwards, David. Thank you. Obviously, these were written by our officers. As for his greatest joy in his life, he would have to say he's blessed as a dad and a granddad to his wonderful family who support him and are loyal to his familia in Azul. And last but not least, David wanted to say, God bless my son, David Michael Garza, who's a United States Marine currently stationed in Japan. That's David Garza. Next to him, Officer Marty Hoffman. He was born in Saratoga Springs, New York, and raised in Norfolk, Nebraska. After graduating from high school in 1991, he moved to Houston, where he attended an aviation school and later graduated with an airframe and power plant license. He then went to work for Continental Airlines as an aircraft mechanic. Some years later, Officer Hoffman enrolled in the basic peace officer class at the University of Houston, and after graduating, was hired as a reserve officer by the city of Humble in January 1997. In 1999, Officer Hoffman attended and graduated from Pasadena Police Academy, class number 49. During his career with the Pasadena Police Department, Officer Hoffman has worked on all 3 patrol shifts. He served on the Special Response Team as well as Honor Guard. Officer Hoffman has been assigned to Community Services Unit for 4 years and is now assigned to Day Shift Patrol as a field training officer. Officer Hoffman has been married to his wife Lindsay for 4 years. Officer Hoffman. And you didn't hear the banter up here before, but the senior officers were helping Officer Green with his bio. They said they had to cut it down, but it was about 6 pages? 7. They did a good job. Officer Green was born and raised in Fort Worth, Texas. He's a lawyer, licensed in both Texas and Massachusetts, and who recently made the transition to a career in law enforcement. That's a very good choice. Officer Green joined our department a little over a year ago. And prior to that, he earned his Juris Doctor degree from Northeastern School of Law, a Master's of Public Health from the Tufts School of Medicine, a Bachelor of Arts degree in Economics from the University of Utah, and completed the coursework for an LLM, Master of Laws in Health Law from the University of Houston. So, Marty, you worried about him being smarter?
I felt really done with it.
That's impressive. Prior to joining our department, Officer Green practiced for 5 years as an attorney with firms in the Houston area, representing numerous hospitals, physicians, nurses, and correctional institutions throughout the nation in various areas of health law and civil rights matters. He briefly assisted in teaching a course in Texas medical malpractice defense at the University of Houston and has served internships in the Office of General Counsel for the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the Massachusetts State Attorney General's Office, and the Arizona Supreme Court. He's married to the beautiful Tessa Lynn Green and has 2 adorable children, Charles and Elaine. Officer Green. Gentlemen, if y'all will join me.
I'm going to read the narrative for what each of these 3 officers did to be earning the awards that they are today. On January 13, 2016, police dispatch broadcast an aggravated robbery that had just occurred at the AT&T store located at 142 Southmore. An armed suspect had displayed a handgun during the robbery, then fled in an unknown type vehicle. The description, as limited as it was broadcast by police dispatch. Officers Hoffman and Green quickly checked out at the scene of the robbery. Officer Garza, who was in the immediate area, observed a suspect matching the description of the robber. Officer Garza initiated a traffic stop, but the suspect fled instead, resulting in a pursuit. Officers Hoffman and Green joined Officer Garza in the pursuit. The pursuit ended in the 2500 block of Shaver, where the suspect abandoned his vehicle and fled on foot. Officers Hoffman and Green followed the suspect on foot, while Officer Garza followed in his unit. Smart. The suspect fired at least twice at the officers. These officers exhibited remarkable restraint and poise by not returning fire in a residential area, but maintained pursuit as the suspect jumped numerous fences to flee from the police. Due to numerous other officers in the area, they were able to direct the suspect into one general area. Officers Fowler and Ragsdale were able to anticipate the direction of the suspect, and in doing so, take the suspect into custody without anyone being injured. On behalf of myself and my staff, I wish to commend and congratulate Officers Garza, Hoffman, and Green for being recipients of the Pasadena Police Department's Valorous Service Award. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, a couple more comments. You can see who the senior officer is. He knows to stay in the car. He doesn't have to run as far, right? But I want to brag on them just for a moment, if I can. You know, despite being shot at, and I just know we're talking about something very serious here, to have the presence of mind and to think about citizen safety, not to return fire because of worrying about the backdrop. I know they train for that, but not many careers ask that of you. So thank you, gentlemen, for the restraint that you showed, and again, putting the citizens first. You did an excellent job getting a bad guy off the street, too. Thank you. Okay, Officer Mark Pena, would you please join me? Okay, Officer Mark Pena graduated from the 47th Pasadena Police Academy in 1997. He spent 19 years as a patrolman, 17 as a bicycle patrol officer, 15 years as a field training officer, and has served 13 years on the SWAT team as an operator on the entry team. Officer Pena is a former instructor in the police pursuit driving, pressure point control tactics, and expandable baton, firearms, taser, IPMBA, public safety cycling, defensive tactics, Spanish, use of force, multiculturalism, level 1 alert, building search, mechanics of arrest, rappelling, SWAT, instant response to terrorist bombing, response to excited delirium, and to agitated, chaotic events. Officer Pena was recently married and has 8 children, 3 in college and 4 who are still living at home. And we're going to hear now on the other side, we're going to talk about the other side of the work and talking about service and what our officers do for our community. Mark, would you join me over here, please?
On February 10, 2016, you were dispatched to May Smith Elementary to interview a 6-year-old female about a possible lack of clothing and basic needs provided by her family. Child Protective Services believed that this child was not being taken care of properly and was not dressed appropriately for the cold weather. After the interview, Officer Pena believed that the family was suffering from financial difficulties and a criminal act had not occurred. Officer Pena took it upon himself to begin collecting clothes from his own family and donate it to the child. Officer Pena has shown such compassion for families in the past. Despite facing the same financial challenges confronted by all working Americans, Officer Pena has personally provided food and other goods to families he has found in need. These actions taken by Officer Pena not only reflect highly upon this agency, but to him as well, not only as a police officer, but as a human. On behalf of myself and my staff, I wish to commend and congratulate Officer Pena for being the recipient of the Pasadena Police Department's Community Service Impact Award. And before I have everybody clap and congratulate him, Mark is a stand-up guy that anytime you need him in the community, he's willing to help. Last Friday with Coffee with a Cop, we had a large number of Hispanic individuals that had limited English. I called Mark. Mark was there in 10 minutes and interacting and helping out and tried to reach out and foster a good relationship with the community. So that's just another example of the things Mark does above and beyond to help and build that relationship with the community. So I appreciate that, Mark.
Now, I hope you caught that that's not unusual for Mark, and it's not unusual for our officers, too. There are times that our officers are always reaching out and doing things above and beyond. We joke about on our Facebook page how we rescue kittens, and rescue kids, but, and David Garza, next week you've got the banquet where you're going to be giving some scholarships out again. They're constantly, our officers are consistently, many of them are still in the community and doing things, and when they come across these people in need, they don't ask for recognition. Mark didn't ask for recognition here. It was pointed out to us by others. This is our opportunity to tell you thank you, Mark. That's very well done. Thank you again. Okay, now if I can have Officer John Lozano Breckenridge, Officer Ryan Childers, and Rigo Saldivar. If you would join me, please. I'll read their bios. And we're talking about heroes again. Officer John Lozano Breckenridge was born on July 19, 1989 in Houston, Texas. Officer Lozano grew up in League City, Texas, attending grade school in the Clear Creek Independent School District. Officer Lozano graduated from Clear Creek High School in May of 2007. Following his graduation from Clear Creek, he attended San Jacinto Junior College from August of 2007 until May of 2008. In 2008, Officer Lozano moved to Huntsville, Texas, and continued furthering his education at Sam Houston State University, where he graduated in December of 2010 with a Bachelor's of Science degree in Criminal Justice with a minor in Communications. Prior to his employment with the Pasadena Police Department, Officer Lozano worked as a small business sales rep for ADT Security Services, and in July of 2011, Officer Lozano was employed as a court liaison officer for the Montgomery County Community Supervision and Corrections Department. Officer Lozano began his career with the Pasadena Police Department on October 14, 2013. Officer Lozano is a graduate of the Pasadena Police Department 67th Academy class and is currently assigned to night shift patrol. Officer Lozano is a member of the Pasadena Police Department Special Response Team, Bike Patrol Unit, and completed a brief stint as a member of the Crime Reduction Unit. Officer Lozano Breckenridge. Now, Officer Ryan Childers was born and raised in Pasadena, Texas. He knew from a very young age that he wanted to be a Pasadena police officer and knew that getting an education was a positive step towards that goal. Ryan graduated from Deer Park High School in 1996 with several awards for academics and athletics. And that's unusual. Athletics and academics. That's good, right? Ryan earned a 5-year scholarship from the University of Louisiana Lafayette, but he graduated in 4 years with a degree in criminal justice and a minor in sociology. So you're serious about your education as well. It's great. After graduation, he attended the 50th Pasadena Police Academy. While in the academy, he married his college sweetheart, Amber, and they've been married for 16 years now. They've been blessed with 4 wonderful children, Tyler, Austin, Ava, and Noah. Ryan has spent 8.5 years on evening shift patrol, 1.5 years in the crime scene unit, 4 years on day shift patrol, and is currently completing his 2nd year on night shift patrol. Officer Childers is currently a field training officer, a bike patrol officer, and a senior member of the Special Response Team. Ryan has always felt that being a police officer was his calling. He is proud to wear the uniform and accepts the responsibilities that come with it. He's glad that he's in a position where he can help and protect those around him. Great sentiment there, Ryan. Ryan would like to thank his entire family for supporting him throughout his life and his career as a police officer. Officer Ryan Childers. And finally, we have Officer Rigo Saldivar. Officer Saldivar was born and raised in Houston, Texas, graduated from Bel Air High School in 1989. After graduating from high school, he attended the University of Houston downtown to further his education prior to joining the U.S. Army. After receiving an honorable discharge from the military, Officer Saldivar worked for the Houston Independent School District Police Department for 2.5 years prior to being accepted to the Pasadena Police Department's 48th Basic Police Academy. After his successful completion of the academy, he was assigned to the evening shift patrol for 2 years. Officer Saldivar then worked undercover in the Pasadena's Narcotics Division for a year. He was later reassigned to the District Action Response Team, known as DART, for 3.5 years, and prior to being assigned to the Burglary and Theft Division for another 3 years. Officer Saldivar returned to day shift patrol for several years prior to being reassigned to the DART team again for 3 additional years. Officer Saldivar is currently assigned to night shift patrol and is an active member of the Department's Honor Guard and a certified bike patrol officer. When not at work, Officer Saldivar enjoys spending quality time with his family. His hobbies include hunting, fishing, and riding motorcycles. Officer Saldivar.
On February 19, 2016, dispatch advised officers of an apartment fire at 2001 Burke. 2 apartments at this location were on fire. Needless to say, several of our officers immediately went to this location to help. Officer Childers arrived on scene and was informed that a male had jumped from the second story of his apartment to escape the fire. This male had severely injured his arm. After Officer Childers made sure the injured man was safe from the fire and with people to take care of him, he went to check on the other occupants of the burning building. Officer Childers had to go back to the back of the burning apartments because entry to the front was no longer an option due to the blaze. When he arrived at the back of the apartments, he found a woman holding her infant trapped on the second floor. Officer Childers tried numerous times to coax this woman to drop her child down to him. When he was unable to do so, he went to find additional help and hopefully a ladder. Around this time, Officer Lozano arrived to help. He was told about the trapped occupants, so he immediately went to the back of the apartments to help. Officer Lozano realized how bad the smoke would be to the infant, so he also tried to convince the trapped woman to drop the infant to him. Officer Lozano was able to safely catch the infant and immediately move the child to safety and medical attention. While this was going on, Officer Saldivar arrived at the fire. He noticed an injured man with a severely cut arm. Realizing the life-threatening nature of the injury, Officer Saldivar applied a tourniquet to stanch the wound. Officer Saldivar remained with the injured man until an ambulance crew arrived to treat him. In the meantime, Officer Childers found some bolt cutters and was able to cut the padlock off of the southeast gate at Pasadena Boulevard, which gave emergency medical services and fire unit personnel more expedient access to the scene. Officer Childers also assisted administering first aid to the female that had suffered a serious laceration to her hand. On behalf of myself and my staff, I wish to commend and congratulate Officers Lozano, Childers, and Saldivar for being the recipient of the Pasadena Police Department's Distinguished Service Award. Congratulations.
Yeah, the letters don't allow us to say everything here, but there was a woman who also jumped out after the baby. After she dropped the baby, she needed to be rescued as well. And as a team, they caught the lady as well and rescued her too. But, I think you see, even when we catch a bad guy, the concern for the community, the compassion and empathy shown by the officers day in and day out for the charitable acts, and then even rescuing people from danger. And this is what it is to be an officer in the Pasadena Police Department. And I can't tell you, this is the best thing that I get to do as the police chief. And I want to thank you so much, gentlemen, for your service and before everybody, and for your continued service and all that you do day in and day out, even when we don't know about it, for the service that you provide and the good deeds that you do in making this world better and a safer place for our citizens. So with that said, I'd like to do one more round of applause for all our awards. Now, with that said, we have cake and punch, and I hope that you stay and visit with our officers and family members, and get what pictures you'd like. But again, this is a great day, and for family members, you have every right to be extremely proud of these men who are sitting up here this morning. So thank you all for coming and helping us. We are dismissed. Thank you.